This is my favorite of the thought experiments. The title that ended up being the actual title is called You're Called to Bounce to Mars. So imagine with me for a second, you're going about your day and everything's great when you get a call from an unknown number. You don't like unknown numbers, you don't ever answer, but against your better judgment, you answer the phone. This commanding, confident voice on the other line starts to talk and he calls you by name. He introduces himself as the commander of a top secret project. And he also tells you he's from an agency that he can't name. It's a little like NASA, but it's cooler, apparently. So this man proceeds to give you an ultimatum. You have 24 hours to pack up your things and leave for Mars. No questions asked. You can call anyone you want, but you can't tell them where you're going or what's happening, and they cannot be suspicious of you. You'll never be able to talk to them again, though. And it is very important that you understand this, that you have a secret mission to perform, that your family's lives will be in danger if you let them even feel a hint of the fact that you're going to be gone. Think about this for a second, and if this scenario were real, who would you call if you only had 24 hours and you knew that you were going to be gone and never talk to people again? What would you say to these people? That's the first part of this thought experiment. This exercise and others kind of like this is a powerful way to get your right brain, so to speak, thinking creatively about what matters most and about the roles in your life that matter most. What you might do is use this thought experiment to get clear on what your roles are in your life. I love this called the Bounce to Mars thought experiment because first and foremost, it helps you get clear on what your roles are. And you'll see how that even gets more powerful as we go on with this thought experiment. It's designed to help you determine who the most important people are in your life and what's most important to you in terms of your roles, and to draw out of you the relationships that you care about most so that you can prioritize them in a way that is most meaningful for your life right now. Now we're going to go back into this thought experiment, and I want you to rewind with me for a second. You're in a similar setting and you receive a call from this secret agency and you're obligated to leave on this mission to Mars, right? But instead of just a day to pack, the commander of the mission with this raspy voice gives you a year to prepare before you leave. You're not allowed to change anything about your life or let anyone become suspicious of you. So most people without that part of the ultimatum would think, okay, I need to go, give my life to charity, or I'm going to quit and only be with my family. Who cares about the financial repercussions? Or maybe you wouldn't do that. But the important part of this is that there are dire consequences if people are suspicious of you leaving. So therefore you have to continue your life as is, and you just can't let anyone know what you're up to at all. Your actions nor your words can let anyone know what you're up to, or that you will be gone forever once you leave in a year. But once you leave, you'll never see your loved ones again. You'll never talk to them again. This is tricky, right? They can't be suspicious of you. There are dire consequences, apparently, if your loved ones find out what you're up to, but there's even more dire consequences if you don't go on this mission. You can't even let them know you're involved in a mission like this, so you have to continue your normal work. Think deeply with me for a second here. Imagine if this were actually true. Try to feel the weight of these questions as we contemplate the scenario a bit further. What would you want to be known for before you leave? You have a year, which is quite a bit of time to actually make this happen. How would you want to leave your mark on the world, on the people around you, in everything that you're doing? What would you want your hallmark to be once you're gone? What would you want to be remembered for? How would you want to be remembered? Now, stay with me for a bit longer here. Think specifically about your relationships and be mindful of this idea. You can't be everything to everyone, or else you risk being nothing to no one. Which are the key relationships you'd like to make an impact in before you leave on this secret mission to Mars? What would you want to have happen in each of those relationships before you leave if they were never going to talk to you again a year from now? What would be the most important outcomes you could think of for each of these relationships, and how would you want them to remember you? And again, you can't prepare them for this in a way of saying hey, I'm going to be gone, so make sure that everything we do now is impactful. It's no, they can't even be suspicious. This is meant to even draw out of you the key elements of your life that matter most and get you thinking deeply about these key elements to prioritize what matters and cut what doesn't. So in terms of your mission statement, it's also meant to get you thinking deeply about the end. So guys, you can take this thought experiment even one step further if you want. During your weekly planning with your roles and your goals, and add on the following parts of this for your roles and your goals. To get really granular, so that it's not just some esoteric, far off thing, you need to bring the power of the long-term vision into the near-term execution realm, which is what happens in your weekly planning. So remember, we've already established which of the roles are most important to us now, right? Because you've listed out the people that you would call or what you would like to happen in those roles. You only have a year to leave your mark and do the things that are most meaningful, do that which is most impactful in each of these relationships without changing anything in terms of the structure of your life. A year is plenty of time to really change things for all of the relationships relationships that matter most, to really enhance that which is now mediocre and completely transform it from a state that is broken into something that is really amazing. And so with these priorities or outcomes in mind, think of each area of your life that you put time into right now, what your key roles are. And without neglecting any of your formal duties, what's the thing you could commit to doing in each of these important roles and relationships of your life that would get you as close as possible this week to achieving your final outcome goal that you want to happen a year from now before you bounce to Mars? And take that a week at a time. In your weekly planning, you can really start to make a dent on, if I can't give up any of my formal obligations or make people suspicious of me leaving, but I can plan within each of these roles the one thing I could do this week to make an impact so that a year from now, I can be remembered the way that I want to be remembered. And I can really make this key outcome and this key relationship become true. So again, what's the one thing that you could do this week that if you did it, it would ensure the highest likelihood of success in achieving your goals before you leave in each of these relationships? Getting you weekly as close as possible, really moving the needle toward that yearly outcome before you leave and no longer have the chance to influence these things or these people in person. This is a thought experiment. Again, we're just wrapping this up now. It's designed to help you begin with the end in mind, truly, to start first with this clear picture of what the final outcome is. And it can apply to many aspects of your life, from personal relationships to your sales goals, anything. But most importantly, what this is supposed to do is help you understand your personal impact. How you do anything is how you do everything. And when you make it so that the time you have to achieve this key impact is limited, when it's finite, which it always actually is if you think about it, it allows your brain to make it so that it becomes imperative that you think in a way that helps you achieve the outcomes and then act on those outcomes. The most fundamental way to employ this right brain exercise is to begin with this clear end and then work your way back from the end with that end clearly in mind, beginning everything you do today, each step you take with that end fixed in your minds and your heart, so that it informs how and why you do everything you do at the highest level, day to day, moment to moment, right now.